Hey Army, did you know there was one moment at a BTS concert in Texas not long ago that made thousands of people inside that arena go completely silent and then burst into tears? Not because of the music, not because of the choreography, but because RM, Kim Namjoon, the leader of BTS, opened up. And what he said broke the hearts of millions while filling them with the deepest kind of pride. He talked about two moments at the American Music Awards, 2017 and 2026. 9 years separating two completely different versions of BTS. From a group that didn't even have a dressing room, to a group that defeated Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, and Bad Bunny to claim the highest honor on that very same stage. Stay with me, because this video is going to take you through that entire journey. From a dark hallway full of quiet tears, to a glittering stage in Las Vegas. And don't go anywhere, because at the end of this video, there is one sentence from RM that is guaranteed to give you chills. Alright, let's go back to the beginning. The year 2017. At that time, BTS was not the BTS you know today. They were still a K-pop group that America treated like outsiders. Nobody really knew who they were. Nobody really cared. But ARMY knew. And thanks to the overwhelming push from fans around the world, BTS managed to earn an invitation to the American Music Awards 2017, one of the biggest music award shows in the United States. Standing on the same stage as names like Selena Gomez, Pink, and Lady Gaga. But backstage, the story was completely different. Years later, standing on the stage of his concert in Texas, with thousands of ARMY screaming in front of him, RM finally shared a story he had been holding on to for a long time. In a calm but deeply emotional voice, RM said, 9 years ago, when we first attended the AMAs, we had no room at all. So we had to fix our makeup in the hallway. And every time a big star walked by, we would apologize to them. Just picture that, ARMY. 7 young men from Korea, far from home, inside a glamorous venue in Los Angeles packed with Hollywood royalty. And they were standing in a hallway, touching up their makeup using tiny mirrors or the front camera of their phones. Heads down, saying sorry every time someone passed by. Not because they did anything wrong, but because they hadn't yet been considered important enough to deserve a room. Think about the psychological weight of that moment. You are about to walk onto one of the biggest stages in America, performing in front of millions of viewers for the very first time, and you don't even have a place to sit down, to breathe, to get your head right. Nothing. They didn't complain. They weren't bitter. They walked onto that stage anyway. They performed DNA with full energy, with genuine smiles on their faces, and they left America stunned that night. But deep inside, Namjoon knew, Jin knew, Suga knew, Jhope, Jimin, V, Jungkook, they all knew. That night, they weren't guests who were welcomed. They were guests who were tolerated. And that is exactly what makes RM's confession so powerful. Because he wasn't telling this story to earn sympathy. He was telling it because now, 9 years later, the world had changed. And he wanted ARMY to truly feel just how far they had come. After that night at AMA 2017, BTS didn't stop. They kept going. Year after year, album after album, song after song. They built something that had never existed before in the history of popular music. A K-pop wave so powerful that nobody in the world could ignore it anymore. 2018, they stood at the United Nations General Assembly, in their 20s, speaking on behalf of an entire generation of young people around the world. 2019, their world tour, Love Yourself, Speak Yourself, shattered stadium records one city at a time. 2020, Dynamite exploded. Their first all-English song debuted straight at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The first time in history for a Korean group. 2021, they returned to the AMAs. But this time, they weren't standing in the hallway anymore. This time they went home carrying 3 trophies, including Artist of the Year, the highest honor at the AMAs. History was made. The first Asian group to ever claim that crown. But then, the world changed again. A pandemic. A pause. And then, military service. One by one, the members of BTS enlisted. ARMY waited. The world waited. And for a while, every stage felt quieter without them. But BTS's story was not over. It never was. Suga was the last to complete his military service in June 2025. And with that, all 7 of them were whole again. 7 stars who had been separated for too long, finally reunited. They didn't waste a single moment. They went straight into the studio. And the result? BTS's fifth studio album, Arirang, a title that speaks for itself. Arirang, the most beloved Korean folk song in the world, a symbol of struggle, longing, and hope. Their lead single, Swim, detonated immediately. It debuted at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It topped global charts. It claimed the #1 spot on the Billboard Global Chart 6 separate times throughout the year. BTS was back, and they were back bigger than ever before. May 25, 2026, MGM Grand Garden Arena, Las Vegas, the 52nd American Music Awards. And for the first time in nearly 5 years, BTS was back on this stage. This time it was different, completely different. No more standing in hallways. No more apologizing to stars walking by. This time, they were the stars that everyone had been waiting for. BTS came in with 3 nominations: Artist of the Year, Song of the Summer for Swim, and Best Male K-Pop Artist. And that night, they won all 3. A clean sweep. Imagine what it felt like inside that arena when BTS's name was called as Artist of the Year, beating Taylor Swift, beating Lady Gaga, beating Bruno Mars, Bad Bunny, Sabrina Carpenter, Harry Styles. The Hollywood Reporter described the awards venue as spontaneously transforming into a BTS concert. The audience stood up. Phones were raised into the air. BTS songs were sung in full voice, even during the commercial breaks. This wasn't just an award anymore. This was the entire American music industry standing up and saying, BTS is the greatest. And when RM stepped up to the podium to accept the award, he didn't shout in excitement. He wasn't arrogant. He stood quietly, eyes shining, and said, "While making this album, we faced a lot of pressure and tried to figure out what kind of music best reflects who we are right now." A simple sentence. But for anyone who truly knows BTS, those words carry enormous weight. Because behind the album Arirang, behind the smooth, flowing sound of Swim, there was struggle. There was doubt. There were real questions about whether the world still wanted to hear them after everything that had happened. And the answer? The world didn't just hear them. The world stood up and applauded. Meanwhile, V delivered a message that immediately settled into the hearts of millions of ARMY. To anyone who keeps swimming and keeps moving forward no matter what, we send you our love and support. So keep swimming. Swim. Keep swimming. That message wasn't just for the listeners of the song. That message was a reflection of BTS's own journey. 9 years of swimming against the current, against prejudice, against language barriers, against the stereotype that an Asian group could never dominate the Western music industry. And they proved every single doubt wrong. Let's go back to that concert in Texas, to the moment where RM stood on stage and started to tell that story. This is where the most important confession happened. After recounting the night in the hallway at AMA 2017, about having no room, about apologizing to the stars who walked past, RM paused. He looked out at the thousands of ARMY standing in front of him. People who had waited in line for hours, bought expensive tickets, traveled from far away, just to be in the same room as him. And then he continued, "We are so grateful to ARMY who have always supported us. Without you, we would not be here right now." Simple? Yes. But inside that arena, there was not a single person who wasn't crying. Because ARMY knows what lives beneath those words. They know how many nights BTS spent in the studio when the rest of the world was asleep. They know how many years BTS pushed through grueling schedules, impossible contracts, and criticisms that never seemed to end. And ARMY also knows. They were there for every single step of it. From a small fandom fighting to win online votes, to millions of voices that can now move the entire music industry. RM wasn't just saying thank you. RM was narrating the most unique love story in the entire entertainment world, the story between BTS and ARMY. A story that has been running for over a decade and shows absolutely no sign of stopping. That moment went viral across every platform. TikTok, X, Instagram. All of them flooded with short clips of RM's words, with millions of people watching while holding back tears. Or not holding them back at all. And ARMY's reaction? They weren't surprised. But they cried anyway. Because this is what makes BTS different. They never forget where they came from. They never pretend that the road was easy. And they never, Not once. Forget ARMY in the middle of all the glory. ARMY, there is something much bigger than a success story hidden inside all of this. Think back. In 2017, BTS stood in a hallway at the AMAs. No room. Saying sorry to people walking past. And that night, there were probably people who looked at them with skepticism. People who quietly wondered, who are these guys? Why is a Korean group even here? 9 years later, that same group stood at MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. Defeated every major name in the industry. Took home the highest honor of the night. And thousands of people from all over the world were singing their songs even during the commercial breaks. This is not just a story about BTS. This is proof that consistency beats everything. That quality will eventually be recognized. That walls which seem impossible to break through. If you approach them with enough patience, enough hard work, and enough love, will eventually come down. RM once said something deeply meaningful, that the Ararang album was about figuring out what kind of music most honestly reflects who they are. Not what sells the most, not what the market wants to hear, but what is most true. And that honesty, which has always lived inside BTS's music, is the reason why ARMY never truly left. You don't just love the music, you love the people. There is also something powerfully symbolic about BTS's achievement at AMA 2026. With a total of 12 trophies at the AMAs since they first appeared in 2017, BTS is officially the Asian act with the most wins in the entire history of that award show. Nobody has ever reached that number before. From 0 dressing rooms to 12 trophies. From apologizing in a hallway to winning Artist of the Year. From being tolerated to being the most missed act when they're gone. And before we close out this video, there's one more thing I want to say. In the middle of all the wins, all the trophies, all the roaring crowds, RM is still the same RM. The one who was willing to sit in a hallway. The one who apologized to people walking by. The one who has never once acted like he's bigger than anyone else just because he can now fill stadiums around the world. That is what true humility looks like. Not performing simplicity, but genuinely remembering where you started. And to all of you, ARMY all over the world, whether you're watching from the United States, from Europe, from Southeast Asia, or from a small town that Hollywood has never once thought about, remember this. BTS once stood in a hallway, and they chose to walk onto the stage anyway. The greatest lesson isn't in their victories. It's in the moment when they had nothing and still chose to keep going. Keep swimming, just like V said. If this video touched your heart, please hit like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with a fellow ARMY who needs to hear this story. And drop a comment below. Which BTS moment gave you the most goosebumps? See you in the next video. Borahi ARMY. Purple Heart.